Here's a chilling story often shared in the quiet, dark corners of hospitals during night shifts. I used to work the night shift at an old hospital that was rumored to be haunted. Most of us brushed it off. It's easy to blame creaks and shadows on fatigue when you're pulling 12-hour shifts. But there was one incident none of us could forget. It happened in room 9, a small isolation room tucked into a dim corner of the pediatric ward. It wasn't used often, mostly for overflow during flu season. One night, we admitted a little boy named Michael. He was around 7, brought in for pneumonia. Sweet kid, pale, frail, but polite. His mom stayed by his side while we monitored him. Around midnight, Michael's oxygen levels started to dip. I was the nurse on duty, so I rushed in to adjust his mask. He was wide awake, staring at the empty chair in the corner of the room. "Who are you talking to, Michael?" I asked. "The man," he whispered, his little voice hoarse. "What man?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light. "The man with no face. He wants to play." I froze. Every hair on my neck stood up. I looked around, but the room was empty, just me, Michael, and his mother dozing in the recliner. I chalked it up to fever and imagination, adjusted his oxygen, and went back to the nurse's station. An hour later, Michael's call bell went off. I hurried back. This time, his mother was awake, standing beside his bed with tears in her eyes. "What's wrong?" I asked her. "Michael says there's someone in the room," she said, voice trembling. I looked at Michael, and he was pointing at the corner, the same chair. "He's closer now," he said. That was it. I turned on all the lights and checked every inch of the room. Nothing. I calmed the mom down, and we settled Michael again. Just before dawn, I checked on him one last time before my shift ended. His oxygen levels were stable, and he was finally asleep. I whispered a good night and turned to leave. That's when I saw it. The chair. It had moved. It was now directly beside Michael's bed. I felt paralyzed. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Slowly, I turned toward the window reflection. In the glass, I saw what I can only describe as a shadow looming over Michael. It had no face. Michael's oxygen alarm suddenly blared, and I rushed to him. But it was too late. His tiny body lay still, cold to the touch, as if something had stolen the last bit of his breath. Later that morning, when I told the story, an older nurse paled and whispered, "Room 9. That's the same room where the man died 30 years ago, suicide by suffocation." I'll never forget Michael's last words. "He's closer now." To this day, that chair is kept in storage, and we avoid room 9 if we can.